Boy, that's the last time I try and lift a table saw.
Well, Frank, I don't get it. I thought you hired Ray to do the heavy work.
Well, I did, but he hurt his back.
How?
Trying to lift a table saw.
One of the children in the opening credits of Step by Step was quietly replaced, and most viewers never noticed. Behind one of the biggest family sitcoms of the 1990s was a production filled with cast tensions, near firings, network pressure, and TV magic that fooled millions of people every week. Even the Wisconsin lake from the opening sequence was actually filmed in a California amusement park's parking lot. So, who almost lost their job during the series? And what was really happening behind the scenes while the show was becoming a Friday night phenomenon? Join us as we uncover 20 shocking facts about Step by Step that fans were never supposed to notice.
Frank, I just returned from Dave's video store and we have to talk about something.
Dave is lying, honey. I swear I never even go back into that section.
Number 20. Designed as a calculated pairing of decades. The producers did not develop Step by Step by starting with a story and then finding actors to fit it. They started with a business strategy and built the show around it. The concept was to take two of the most recognizable and attractive television stars from the 1970s, specifically Patrick Duffy and Suzanne Somers, and pair them as parents to attract an adult audience, while simultaneously casting current teen celebrities in the children's roles to pull in a younger demographic at the same time. They knew that the two audiences together would produce the ratings the network needed. It was a formula rather than an artistic vision, and it worked for 7 years. But if the whole show was built around Patrick Duffy, you might be wondering whether he actually chose to be there. And the answer to that question is not the one most people expect. Number 19. A debt was paid. Patrick Duffy did not come to Step by Step because he fell in love with the script, or because he was the most obvious choice for Frank Lambert. He came to the show because a production company had a contractual obligation they needed to fulfill. Patrick had spent years playing Bobby Ewing on the primetime soap opera Dallas, which was produced by Lorimar Television. When Dallas ended its run, Lorimar had a standing commitment to provide Patrick with a new series. Step by Step was the vehicle they chose to honor that obligation. Patrick spent 7 seasons as Frank Lambert and has described it as one of the great experiences of his career. And Dallas is not the only connection between Step by Step and that show, because before Patrick arrived on the TGIF lineup, another Dallas actor was already being lined up to play one of the most beloved characters in the series. But who was it? And did Suzanne Somers actually want to work with Duffy in the first place? Number 18. Suzanne Somers had serious doubts about her co-star. When Suzanne Somers was told that Patrick Duffy would be her co-star, her reaction was not immediately enthusiastic. Her concern was specific and reasonable. She had only ever seen Patrick in Dallas, where he played a dramatic character in a serious primetime soap, and she was not convinced he had what it takes. She told Entertainment Tonight that her doubts vanished quickly once she actually started working with him. She said he had a natural wit and the physical comedic abilities of John Ritter, which was one of the most precise compliments she could have paid to a co-star being asked to do family sitcom work. But Suzanne herself had her own history with television firings that made her comeback with Step by Step far more meaningful than most people realized. So what had actually happened to her career before this show began? Number 17. Famous for being fired. When Suzanne Somers came to Step by Step in 1991, she was returning to television after a long absence that had begun with one of the most public contract disputes in the history of American sitcoms. In 1981, Suzanne was fired from Three's Company after she asked to be paid on a level comparable to what her male co-stars were earning. She was at the height of her popularity on the show at the time, and her request for equal pay resulted in her losing the role entirely. She later described the experience in InStyle as being fired for asking to be paid commensurate with the men. Carol Foster on Step by Step was her chance to rebuild a sitcom career that the Three's Company firing had complicated significantly. Now that you know Somers had already survived being pushed out of one beloved show, you might be wondering whether Step by Step was connected to other famous shows in ways you never expected. Because the sets you were watching all season long were not built just for this family. So what were they hiding? Number 16. The indoor sets were recycled from other shows. The production did not build everything from scratch for the Foster Lambert home. Several of the interior sets used for scenes inside the family house had previously been used in two other television shows. Valerie, which ran from 1986 and eventually became known as The Hogan Family, and Family Matters, the long-running TGIF sitcom that aired alongside Step by Step for much of its run. The furniture changed and the set dressing was adjusted, but the physical bones of the spaces that the Foster Lambert family lived in had already hosted different fictional families before them. And if the inside of the house was borrowed from other shows, what about the outside, and where was the Foster Lambert house actually located? Number 15. The house was in California, not Wisconsin. The actual house used for those exterior shots is located at 2011 Fletcher Avenue in South Pasadena, California. The interiors of the home were never filmed there at all, and the entire show was produced on sound stages at Warner Brothers Studios in Burbank, California. Every scene that took place inside the house happened on a constructed set in a studio, with the South Pasadena building existing purely as a facade for the camera whenever an outside shot was needed. But if the house was not in Wisconsin, you might already be suspecting that the Wisconsin lake in the opening credits was not real either. And if you suspected that, you were absolutely right. So what were you actually looking at every time the theme song played? Number 14. A roller coaster parking lot. Every single episode of Step by Step opened with the same cheerful sequence of the Foster Lambert family enjoying themselves at what appeared to be a lakeside amusement park in Port Washington, Wisconsin. It looked perfectly Midwestern. The water was right there in the background. Every frame of it was fabricated. The lake visible in the aerial shots was digitally superimposed onto the parking lot of the California roller coaster park to create the illusion of a Wisconsin waterfront. The Colossus wooden roller coaster, which has since been demolished, is prominently visible in some of those shots. Wisconsin does not have mountains either, which sharp-eyed viewers noticed immediately, but most casual audiences never paused to question. Now that you know these details, let's talk about the child hidden in plain sight. Number 13. There was a secret child in the opening credits. When the pilot episode of Step by Step was filmed, the child cast as Mark Foster was not Christopher Castile. The role had originally been given to a young actor named Jarrett Lennon, who had come to the producer's attention after appearing in the final episode of another Miller Boyette series. Lennon shot the pilot in the role of Mark. Then the producers decided to recast the part, replacing him with Christopher, who had blonde hair matching on-screen mother Suzanne Somers, as opposed to Lennon's darker hair. Most of Lennon's scenes were reshot with Christopher. But here is where the story gets genuinely strange, because Jarrett Lennon and Christopher Castile, the two boys who replaced each other on Step by Step, would end up replacing each other again years later on a completely different project. So, what exactly happened between them? Number 12. Two actors spent the 90s replacing each other. The The story of Jarrett Lennon and Christopher Castile has an additional twist that makes it one of the more remarkable casting coincidences of the decade. Castile went on to voice the character of Eugene Horowitz on the Nickelodeon animated series Hey Arnold when it premiered in 1996. He recorded several episodes in the role before being replaced. The actor who replaced him, taking over the Eugene voice for the remainder of that show's first season, was Jarrett Lennon, the exact same child actor who Castile had replaced as Mark Foster on Step by Step 5 years earlier. Now that you know the child cast was full of surprising hidden stories, let's talk about what was happening with the actor playing everyone's favorite surf-obsessed cousin. Number 11. Cody was a Dallas star before he was anyone's nephew. The character of Cody Lambert, Frank's cheerful and not particularly sharp nephew, became one of the most beloved figures in the show's entire run. Sasha Mitchell played him for 6 seasons and made him the character that audiences still remember most warmly when they think about the series. Before Step by Step, Sasha had appeared on Dallas, the same show that Patrick Duffy was leaving when he came to this series. Mitchell played James Beaumont, the illegitimate son of J.R. Ewing, which made him and Duffy Dallas alumni who were then reunited as uncle and nephew on a completely different show. And as beloved as Cody was by audiences, what happened to him during the show's run was something that nobody watching on Friday nights was prepared for. Number 10. Fired and rehired. The warmth that audiences felt toward Cody Lambert made it all the more shocking when the character disappeared without explanation during Season 5, and the circumstances behind his absence were not ones that reflected well on the actor playing him. Mitchell was arrested in 1995 and subsequently convicted of domestic violence against his then-wife. The conviction resulted in him being fired from the show during the 5th season. The producers eventually made the decision to bring him back, and he appeared in the second-to-last episode of the 7th season before CBS canceled the series entirely shortly afterward. Now, losing a major character mid-season is disruptive enough on its own, but Step by Step had an even stranger situation with a different child actor who simply stopped showing up. So which child just disappeared and was never mentioned again? Number 9. A child. Quit acting and his character was never mentioned again. Josh Byrne played Brendan Lambert, the youngest of Frank's 3 children, for the first 5 seasons of the show. During Season 6, Byrne decided he was finished with acting and left the industry entirely. The show's response to his departure was remarkable in its complete indifference to continuity. Brendan Lambert simply ceased to exist on screen from that point forward. Given that the show was comfortable pretending a child simply did not exist anymore, it's not weird that the timeline had flaws too. So what was going wrong with the timeline? Number 8. The children's ages made no logical sense. Step by Step ran for 7 seasons in real time, and you might reasonably expect the characters to age roughly in line with the years passing. For some of the children, this happened exactly as expected. For others, time appeared to be moving at an entirely different pace. Dana and JT were both 16 years old in the first season. By the end of the 5th season, Dana was 20, and JT was described as almost 20 at the start of the 6th. That tracks reasonably. Karen, however, was dating boys in the 1st season, attended her prom in the 4th season, and was somehow still described as being in high school during the 6th season, which would make her high school career approximately a decade long. The youngest child, Lily, was born at the end of the 4th season and was somehow 6 years old in the 11th episode of the 6th season, jumping several years of development in the space of 2 broadcast seasons. Now, if the timeline inside the show was confused, let's reveal what ABC did to guarantee the show's failure. Number 7. Bumped off its own network. The relationship between ABC and Step by Step in its later years revealed exactly how much confidence the network had actually lost in the series. Even while it was still technically part of their schedule, ABC chose to delay the entire 6th season of Step by Step to mid-season in order to make room in the fall of 1996 for 2 new sitcoms on the TGIF lineup, specifically Sabrina, the Teenage Witch, and a sitcom adaptation of the film Clueless. Sabrina survived and thrived. The Clueless series failed almost immediately and was canceled in February 1997 due to poor ratings, at which point ABC brought Step by Step back to fill the gap that the show which had displaced it had just created. And if being bumped by Clueless was not enough of an insult, the show was then dropped by ABC entirely at the end of that 6th season. So, where did Step by Step go after ABC let it go? Number 6. The show changed networks as part of a bigger plan. When ABC canceled Step by Step in May 1997 after its 6th season, the situation seemed permanent. Then CBS stepped in with a plan that the network hoped would build something entirely new for Friday nights. CBS reached a deal with the show's production company to acquire the rights to both Step by Step and Family Matters from ABC simultaneously, with the intention of building its own Friday night lineup of family-friendly sitcoms modeled on what TGIF had been. CBS called this programming strategy the CBS Block Party. The ratings continued to decline on both shows despite the network change and the fresh start, and Step by Step ended its run in June 1998 without the conclusion its audience had been waiting for. And the way that final season ended was not handled with any particular grace for the people who had been loyal to the show for years. Number 5. The show never got a real finale. After 7 seasons and 160 episodes, Step by Step did not get the ending its audience deserved. The show was canceled abruptly by CBS, and there was no advance warning that the last episode would be the last episode. According to both Stacey Keenan and Christine Lakin, who played Dana and Al respectively, the series was supposed to conclude with Dana and Rich's wedding at the family house, and elaborate preparations were already underway for that finale when the cancellation came through. The wedding never happened. This leads us to what happened to J.T. Lambert off-screen. Number 4. J.T. Lambert was shot in real life and never came back. Brandon Call, who played J.T. Lambert, Frank's eldest son, throughout all 7 seasons of the show, effectively vanished from the entertainment industry completely after Step by Step ended. The reason became clearer years later. In 1996, while the show was still in production, Brandon was the victim of a drive-by shooting. He drove himself to a police station afterward and collapsed on the steps outside. He survived, but the experience left a lasting mark. Given how differently the child actors' lives turned out after the show, you might be wondering which of them actually managed to build a career from what they started here. So who was the only kid from the show who kept going? Number 3. Only one child actor built a real career after the show. Of all the child actors who played Frank and Carol's 6 children across the run of Step by Step, the career outcomes afterward were dramatically different from one person to the next. Stacey Keenan, who played Dana Foster, stopped acting and became a lawyer, eventually serving as a deputy district attorney in Los Angeles and becoming a law professor at Southwestern Law School. Christopher Castile, who played Mark, retired from acting after the show ended. Josh Byrne quit mid-series. Brandon Call stepped away after his recovery from being shot. Angela Watson appeared intermittently in small roles after the cancellation. The only child actor from the core cast who built a substantial post-show career in entertainment was Christine Lakin, who played tomboy Al Lambert, and who went on to work as an actress, producer, director, and writer, including directing episodes of The Goldbergs and Disney's High School Musical, The series. And Lakin's connection to the show does not end with her career choices. Because the relationships that formed between the adult cast and the child actors during 7 years of production were not purely professional. Number 2, a relationship that lasted off-screen. The relationships that formed between the adult cast members and the child actors during 7 years of production were not simply professional arrangements that ended when filming stopped. For at least one pair of people, the connection went considerably deeper than that. Patrick Duffy has said in interviews that he received Father's Day cards from Christine Lakin, who played his daughter Al on the show, for many years after the series ended. Lakin herself has described both Patrick and Suzanne as an incredible part of her childhood. All of that brings us to number 1. Number 1. The name connection. The mother in Step by Step is named Carol Foster. The mother in The Brady Bunch is named Carol Brady. Both shows feature a woman named Carol raising a blended family in the same house as a man whose previous marriage produced 3 children. The show's creators, the same production company responsible for Family Matters and other TGIF staples, built the entire premise on the foundation that the Brady Bunch had laid, updated it for a generation of children growing up in the 1990s, when divorce and remarriage were considerably more common than they had been in the 1970s, and then cast it with faces that parents and children of that era would recognize. Which number surprised you the most? Was it the hidden child in the opening credits, the fake Wisconsin lake filmed in a California parking lot, or the number that both mothers in both shows are named Carol?